Hello, and welcome to the Inglorious Pasterds podcast, where we talk about spirituality, news, and how I will never become a vice presidential candidate. My name is Michael.
Not with that attitude.
My name is Michael Basinger. With me are Donald Trump correspondent Matt Polly,
How's it going?
Captain Nugnito, the coach Josh Casey,
Cheers.
and the butcher of Bloomington Lucas Allen.
Hello.
Together, we are the Inglorious Pasterds. So, what's going on here? We're doing an extreme home takeover.
Extreme pod takeover.
That's a 20-year-old reference.
I know.
Hi, I'm Ty
Yeah.
Pennington.
Ty Pennington is stoked right now at this reference.
Yeah, but Paige, what was her
He's getting
Paige?
the Rizzies, man.
What was her name?
I don't know.
The host
We don't know what you're.
of
If you're gonna objectify a woman,
trading spaces.
We are taking over
Something,
the.
I don't know.
We're
I had a
taking.
crush. That's what I'm trying to say.
all right, let him do.
We are. You're drowning.
It's a fucking takeover.
You're drowning. Let me throw it.
It's a fucking takeover.
Oh my gosh! All right, we are doing a takeover of, ladies and gentlemen, Fireside creators with Sherry, Reverend Dr. Sherry.
Get
Are
it
you
right.
there, Sherry? Come in. Yes, come on. Welcome.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
How are you?
We apologize for the chaos that is the Inglorious Bastards podcast.
Oh, no, we
I
don't.
love it. I
You're
absolutely
great.
love it.
Yeah. So
she knew the danger going in.
yeah.
Right?
She's not new.
Not at all.
If anybody's listening, make sure to comment in the comments so we can make sure the sound's okay and make sure that nobody's dying.
We're here to serve you.
Yeah. If you have any
Well.
questions, comments, snide remarks,
You might be.
keep them to yourself. No. So Sherry invited us on to our podcast, or we invite. I don't know how this
It was a
happened.
mutual
Something
invitation.
like that.
sort of.
We were
So-
talking.
We've been in communication. So we have been on the Fireside Creators podcast before. Matt and I have been. Josh and Lucas are too new. They don't understand.
Yeah,
what's going
we
on.
we still in diapers.
on. And then you've got this.
We're still in our 90 days.
See, you're a VP candidate.
By the way, the
Thank
VP,
you.
the,
Thank
V-
you.
the VP comment was about the puppies.
Puppies.
Yes. In case you didn't catch
Gotcha.
it.
It's true,
I
yeah,
may
you're-
or may not
you're
have
out.
been accused of puppy murdering.
Might have been wrongly.
Incredibly
It's true.
accused.
No,
No.
no.
let's not temper it a little bit.
No.
You're incredibly accused.
I was accused. I was in the room,
It wa-
but it was alleged.
Hmm.
So there
He
were
was an
other
accessory.
people. I was
Okay.
one.
so was OJ.
I was one of three suspects.
Love food, Michael.
I don't think I've ever seen Sherry's eyes like
He was
get
an
so big whenever we
accessory.
started talking about
It's a
puppy
puppy
murdering on the
murder.
podcast.
We are anti.
No
Just to
puppy
be
killers on my show.
We
Yeah.
are anti-puppy.
anti. Yeah.
He's reformed. It's fine.
Dog aside.
No one can prove it. Number one.
There
Canicide.
we go.
Canicide.
It's a long running not joke, but it's not really
It's-
funny.
Kind of is a joke.
It kind of is.
Anyway, so Sherry, where are we
shit.
at? What the fuck are we
Talk about
doing?
dog, dog murder.
So no, let's
Sherry,
get out of the-
hey.
So
Let's
Sherry's like, oh my god.
eject.
You did. Um,
I knew it was
So-
a hostile takeover. I didn't realize it was going to be this way.
yeah,
This
I,
hostile.
I apologize. Um,
You got your word. You're fuck the patriarchy.
feel feel free to
Here we are.
delete this from all history,
Yeah.
whenever you feel the need to.
Sure. Yeah.
Whenever you run for vice president, let us know and we'll delete this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or whenever you're trying to get a job at some
Right.
company. All right. So so we were on Fireside Creators a while back, Matt and I, with his brother Brad, who is no longer with us. He's alive.
Yeah.
He's just
Say he's not
here.
dead.
He's not here.
He's just dead to
Anymore.
us.
He
but
just
it's
May as
fine.
well be.
He's Rodney
Yeah.
Dangerfield, man. He's going back to school.
So yes. So when the Sherry announced that she's reading this book, we started having this conversation about we need to do it again. We need to chat again and hang out. So Sherry is here, and for people who listen to our show, we're doing things a little bit different. We're switching the order of everything, but you know what? Get over it.
Yeah.
This is episode 370. What?
I don't know.
7.
And
Wow.
we can do what we want.
Yeah.
at
There
this
you go.
So let's go into our first segment, which is this.
Hubba, hubba, hubba.
Hey, hey, what are you drinking? Hey, hey, I'm thinking that if we're gonna get through through this, we're gonna need some fluid. So hey, hey, what are you drinking now?
All right, Sherry, let's ask you first. What are you drinking?
Kool-Aid.
Flavor.
Just Kool-Aid.
You're gonna be on this podcast. You kind of need to drink the Kool-Aid.
I know. It's I actually I make it myself and I mix 3 different flavors, so it kind of tastes like cotton candy, and then I control the sugar. in it.
Oh,
Okay. What are the flavors? We need to know your secret recipe.
Um,
The
blueberry
shape-
lemonade, black cherry, and tropical punch.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black cherry
It's the
is
wild kind of. It's the
I'm
wild
fucking
kind
in,
of
man. Let's
Kool-Aid.
do it.
That's awesome. I
So we'll throw some gin in there too.
can't remember the last time I made
Just for
Kool-Aid.
balance. Oh, I couldn't tell you last time I made Kool-Aid.
Have you ever made Kool-Aid?
Oh yeah. Did we drink that shit as a kid? Are you kidding me?
But
Yeah.
did you actually make
Oh,
it?
I've made Kool-Aid, yeah. It's literally a packet of powder and water.
He can
It's
handle
not-
it.
I can handle
And
that.
sugar. And sugar.
I don't even have to microwave.
Oh, you get the sugar-free stuff and add
Yeah.
the sugar.
Yeah,
that's
that way I
smart.
control it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
That's-
it come with sugar?
Oh,
Normal?
yeah.
The big you can tell the difference between the packets that are, at least when I was a kid.
Oh
last
yeah, you
time
always
I-
got the unsweetened packets and put the sugar in. That's-
See,
Yeah.
not in my house. We bought the full
Oh, yeah.
sugar packet.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
We only did that
Was
for
that
church
70
things.
cents more? Was there an upcharge on the sugar?
It was more expensive, but it was convenient.
worth it.
We only
Too
did that for
sweet.
church things, and it was never
Yeah.
as good.
Lucas has
Church
never been
Kool-Aid
called too
sucked.
sweet.
It did.
No, I
in
haven't.
multiple
Yeah,
in
nobody-
multiple ways.
Nobody knew how to make a Kool-Aid. They always try to make too big a
It's
batch
like
with
the
too little
coffee.
powder.
Church Kool-Aid is bad.
It's like church coffee.
Did
Yeah.
anybody ever have communion with Kool-Aid?
No, I don't
No.
think we did that.
Grape juice.
Yeah,
I think-
grape
Grape
juice.
juice.
I think
Well,
the fact that none of us liked the church Kool-Aid has a lot to do with why we're here. Right now.
I
Fair
did once
point.
have grape soda as the body, or the
Did I
blood
do
of
that?
Christ.
Was that
No,
what
Fizzle
it was?
and
It
all.
was at a camp. Yeah, fizzle and all.
I think I kept it biblical with grape
Do-
juice and
Jesus's blood was fizzy that day.
Yeah, sparkly.
Yeah, it's very good.
Holy Spirit bubbling up.
That's how he died, was the air in the bloodstream.
all that all
That's
that
what's up and down.
carbonation.
Oh my gosh. So, Josh, what are we drinking?
All right, we are drinking Bitches Brew Hazy IPA.
In honor of that,
And there we go.
You're gonna get us
Jeez.
kicked off of YouTube.
nobody's gonna recognize bitches.
No.
Brew.
It
somebody's
will. It's
gonna know.
recorded.
Miles
If
Davis.
you can
Oh my
Shazam
God.
it, they can kick
All
you
right,
off.
so the reason why is
Well, I was gonna play
because
bitches brew for Miles
because-
Davis.
Matt is
A
this is
bitch.
Matt's beer. I've already made Lucas's. This is Matt's beer, and one of his favorite albums is the Miles Davis album Bitches Brew, but it's ES. And since you are the one singular bitch that this is made for,
This is
this
bitch
is
apostrophe S.
S.
I don't.
Because
Glad we got our
IPAs
grammar correct.
I don't-
Because IPAs,
I don't do grammar. I don't care.
IPAs are, especially hazy IPAs. It's basic bitch beer, but it's
Mhm.
good.
Yes, it's very
there
good.
you
Oh,
actually.
it kind of
Yeah,
is.
That's what
isn't
I
it?
want.
Well, not even basic. It's like
No,
basic.
I've already said
It's basic white man bitch.
That's, yeah,
Like-
it's like
It's like craft beer.
It's
white
basic. It's
man.
basic white man beer.
Yeah.
I like to. I've reclaimed that
Guys
word
with
and
beards.
using it against
I mean-
men as often as possible.
Yeah.
Fuck the patriarchy. Yes.
But,
Indeed.
but yeah, so what do you guys think? By the way,
It's good.
It's good. This
Put
is
it on for a bit.
this is better than I expected.
it's pretty hoppy.
It's
but
got a west. Yeah, it's got a West Coast kind of feel to it, like with
Yeah.
the hops. And
Yeah,
I
it's a little
like it
more-
a lot.
your
so.
West Coast roots are really shining
Oh,
through. in
thanks.
here.
We're gonna have a beef here with my East Coast preference.
I expected it to taste like pond water.
I'm
and-
Tupac
Oh,
to your
thanks.
Suge
I'm
Knight.
glad that you thought my beer would taste like pond water.
Yeah, but which one's Tupac and
I
which
mean-
one's Suge Knight?
That's salty.
That's up to the audience to decide.
All right, so we're gonna go right into further up, further in,
Right in.
just to so Sherry doesn't have to put up with our bullshit. So
I feel like a fly on the wall.
okay, all right, here we go with further up, further in.
Further up and further up and further in.
Yeah.
I love that new feature.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Gonna get us kicked off of YouTube.
All right.
Thank you.
Lindo Digger entered the chat. Gosh. Oh my gosh. So Sherry, you have a book called
They made a book out of that.
they made a book out of this called We Have Ruined God, My Journey Out of Religion and Into Unconditional Love. It's 411 pages long.
It was over 500, so I think that's an accomplishment.
When I
That's a lot of words to say.
when I-
Just to say the church sucks.
when I downloaded it to my iPad, my iPad got heavier.
But with formatting, 77 of those pages are blank. So take that
That's
into
true.
consideration.
That's true.
No, you're fine. No, it is a beefy book, and I think you cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
So before we get started, so we are 377 episodes into talking about our deconstruction journeys. And I can very confidently say that we have not talked about how awful being a Christian is for women. And how vastly different it is to deconstruct as a woman who grew up in the church. Just reading the preface to your book was difficult. You had a really fucking terrible hellscape of an experience within that culture. And you have dedicated a good chunk of your life talking about Christianity, the corruption, the manipulation. 76 chapters here. The floor is yours. Tell us why you wrote this book. What is your objective here?
To dismantle the patriarchy, we lost someone.
That's me.
It's fine. He'll be back.
My computer is 48 years old.
He's still listening.
I was born with it.
To really get the power away from the church, because so many people think that it's infallible, the doctrine is infallible, and it's full of flaws and contradictions and agendas and inaccuracies, and because of all of those things, pain ensues, because of agendas, because of the patriarchy. That never ever endorses love. It's all about power, greed, agendas, putting people down as opposed to lifting them up, and mass crowd control via supposedly God's laws.
It's the whole. I'm going to the whole Jesus knocking at the door. I'm going to save you from what? From what I'll do to you if you don't let me in. Like
Right.
Like they offer the threat and the way out, and it's like that's not how that's supposed to work. Like
Exactly.
At what point are you supposed to be afraid of God? Like how is that a God of love that you're gonna be terrified of? And that was one of the big breaking points for me. I know was realizing like you can't have a God that's going to consign somebody to hell and then claim that God is by definition love.
Yeah. And it's all about control, it really, and if you invalidate what they claim to use as that source, then I hope it will be really freeing. It's very informative. I mean, I intertwine it's not a memoir. I intertwine my stories just to show the damage that this type of stuff does. And that way it brings more awareness to it. And I was hurt by, I'm getting feedback.
It's Lucas.
Is that me trying to re-enter?
Is it better?
Is it Lucas or Judas?
Column A, column B.
Yeah.
Is it still feeding back?
It says that my device is not compatible.
Are you on Chrome?
Are you on Chrome?
I'm on Firefox.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's why.
But that's what I always use.
Oh, okay.
It's
Are you getting feedback still?
I'm getting it now.
That's weird. We
I'm
don't hear it
muted.
at all.
My tab's muted. That's weird.
Let me just remove Lucas and see what that does. Is that better?
It's gonna take me
I
an
think
hour
so.
to get back in.
It's Lucas.
We'll
It's
just go on without it.
Yeah,
Live shows, everyone.
I'll just talk and no one.
Just scooch over here. Come here.
Yeah,
Camera.
My children know you as freaking Lucas, and that's, I mean,
hey, man. That's what the disco floor knows me as too.
Is the feedback still there? Or is it gone?
I can work through it. No biggie. It's better.
All right, I'll remove him. It's fuck Lucas. Who needs him?
So yeah, I mean, I
I am
address
the
all
patriarch.
the bullshit in the dogma, in the doctrine, and it's not just Christianity. While I approach it from an evangelical or ex-evangelical mindset because I was indoctrinated, I look at the other religions too. And they all center around, love and let go. But when they expand beyond that is where all the bullshit comes from.
So normally for a guest, I would shape this next question in a way that isn't a pretty package to ask a really hard question.
Uh-oh.
But
That's
not
what I
for
would,
you.
That's what I would normally do, Jerry. But I think the rawness of our show, and I think your show also has some vulnerability to it as well. Your family was pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
How the fuck did you get out of that alive and halfway normal?
Halfway.
Yeah,
I'm not giving you full credit of being normal. Nobody likes normal.
Her,
That's
presence,
lame.
her presence on this podcast would
Yeah.
the fact that
would
you're
seem to
on this
validate that.
podcast would explain that you're at least somewhat not normal.
Right. And I have been a part of the Pasterds Pub for like 7 years. So
Yeah.
we already know this.
Yeah.
My high school best friend said to me, or my junior high best friend, rather, she was an atheist, and she actually taught me more morality than my church did or anything like that. But she said one time, it is so weird. Your dad's over here and your mom's over here, and somehow you ended up in the middle. I really took everything that I disliked about them and just tried to do better. It was like, I said to my mom, your God's an asshole. I want nothing to do with him. And it was really easy to see my dad as one of the most evil persons I've ever known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not really a nice way to put that, but yeah, there's some darkness in those stories early on that you tell regarding your dad, that it's just like, I don't know how, I can't even imagine what that was like growing up with.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything else.
Yeah.
Right. And men had so much power in my life, and I was told to submit. And, my dad always used to say, do as I say, not as I do. And I'd be like, well, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But, they were really clear examples of what I didn't want to be.
And I don't know if you cover this greatly in the book or not. Where are your thoughts? And I know you cover a lot of ground, but what are your thoughts on forgiveness in terms of that? Is it get the fuck out of my life, I want nothing to do with you, or what does that look like for you?
Spoiler alert. After my dad wanted to kill my son, I never spoke to him again.
Good.
It was done. It was over. I did go and my brother and I attempted to clean out his house and do the final things. But at one point, his sister, my aunt, said that he had lung cancer about 2 years before he died. And I was really struggling as to whether or not to contact him. His other sister, my other aunt, asked him if he had heard from me or knew where I was. He knew exactly where I was. He had people following and watching me or whatever. But he said that I stopped talking to him because he told me the truth about my mother and I couldn't handle it. And he totally rewrote the history, totally rewrote everything according to what he could handle. None of his friends knew he had children. He had constructed this whole big lie about growing up in Maui. So those pieces were all falling into place after he passed away. But the other aunt said, if you can ever consider calling him, run head first into a brick wall, and that will be less painful.
Yeah.
So I never did. And it was, I just don't think there's ever coming back from that.
Yeah.
I can let it go. If that's what you're meaning by forgiveness.
I don't know. Because in my current state where I'm at spiritually and wherever that is, like, I can't imagine ever forgiving someone for the shit that they pulled like that. Like, I can't imagine. That's not like, I can move on. And that I think that would haunt me. But I don't think I could or would ever want
forgiveness
to.
is more about freeing yourself anyway.
Exactly.
And I think you can, I think you can, and maybe that's what you mean by like coming to terms with it or moving on, or just like, hey, this doesn't control my life anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's I'm free. Like,
Yeah.
And that person probably, especially in this circumstance, they're not going to accept your forgiveness anyway. So
Yeah.
it's about you just
He wouldn't think he needed any.
right.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I mean,
It's
they're once you've
Oh,
reached that point, you are just running headlong into a brick wall. There's just no point because it's going to accomplish nothing except reopen old wounds.
Yep.
And if you've moved on, there's no reason to reopen that door. Like there just isn't.
people are so delusional in their own world.
It's narcissism.
It's crazy.
It's straight up narcissism. I mean, you're the only thing that matters.
All right, so the book isn't about it is not an autobiography. You're breaking down a lot of the talking points in terms of things that but a lot of us have deconstructed. Did you have any questions before we go to the chapters and stuff?
Not about the specific setup. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, you kind of answered this. I'm the one who's not on the screen. Matt's not a ventriloquist drinking beer while I talk.
I can move my
No,
mouth.
but I've got a new idea for a talent.
You're gonna shove your hand up. No.
You know, you say like part of what got you to where you are is being doing the opposite, basically, of your parents and what they had done. Is there one of the things? I mean, because same thing Michael said, just reading it, was like, wow, how do you end up even just like a functional adult, much less a high performing person like this? So, but what factors do you contribute that to? Obviously, the decision to take their example as a negative example, people or experiences in life. What are some of the key things that you think took you from that place to where you are now?
I could not say my dad or my father until I was almost 30 without crying. I literally just could not even say those words. I think a lot of it is what they taught me. Being a good person was a matter of rebellion, right?
Yeah.
So, it was. My mom always said, "Oh, you're such a mercy," all of those designations, or you're such a liberal. And all of those things were so negative. Being loving, being caring, worried about people, was a negative.
God forbid.
Right? So it was
woke before it was cool.
So at my book launch party on Saturday, Ed Oxford, who did the 1946 movie, he said, "How long have you been working?" And I'm like, "Oh, forever." And he went, "What does that work with everything that goes on?" And literally, it was like, if you can find love, grab it. So I was looking for that love and striving for love. The biggest growth and forgiveness I had across the whole journey was realizing that I am loved and that I don't need someone else to fill me up. Which is because I was so deprived of that love and security and everything as a child. I always wanted that. But once I was able to dig in and really realize that their beliefs were crap based on crap, it was really easy to let go of all that power. Let go of all of those restrictions and judgment and everything and just go, it's like I'm nearly 6 feet tall. It's like someone calling me short now. Okay. You think so? It just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's interesting that you went the way that you went, because so many people, this is the thing that's baffled me since I was in ministry 2 decades ago, is why some people go one way and some people go the other. Yeah. Because in your situation, you could have just continued the cycle, or you could have been somewhere in between where you are now and that. And like, you chose this completely different path. I don't know if there's a question there, but it's always fascinating me that some people go, my wife is the same way. She kind of had she had some pretty rough shit happen to her as a kid. And she turned into one of the greatest people that I know. I mean, bar none, and these guys will back me up on that. Like, she went that way, you went that way, but so many people end up Donald Trump. Like, like his dad was a piece of shit.
Wearing a shirt that says "Real men wear diapers."
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
like where, like, it's just, I just don't know why some people. That is the great mystery to me, is why some people go one way, and some people, man, they just go the complete opposite direction. And like I said, I don't know if there's a question there.
Well, I in my own personal experience, I think it's a sense of entitlement. You know, one of the things that I was raised on is no one owes you shit ever.
Mhm.
And because I was raised in the church, because I really felt like there was something greater out there, I wanted to find it. I wanted to find if there was any truth in any of the doctrine whatsoever, in any of these sins, in just all of it. And in finding the truth, the only thing that kept bubbling up was love. And then I had to like deconstruct the cliches with love and, you know, really, okay, what is love? And in my opinion, and in research, love without action is just nothing. It's, you know, so
Yeah.
I also think that, you know, while it's really good for people, you know, who are in love, and it's easy to be loving when you like someone, when you need to be loving and you're not, you know, that's when it's really hard. I always use road rage for me because that's just a weakness for me.
Same.
Yeah. And I mean, and I still catch myself. I know this. I wrote a 412-page book on it. You know, it's all, and I'm still like, motherfucker. And, and then 5 minutes later, it's like, oh, you know better. You know better. You're probably just having a rough day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, you know, to be able to really implement that is hard. And that's why people don't do it. You know, it's, they think they're entitled to something, and so they get angry. And if I was still angry, I could never move forward in love. Never.
I just know I'm entitled to drive in the fast lane, actually fast.
Well, there you go.
Not behind some asshole going 10.
Right?
But
I
you're
feel like that is no.
No, continue,
No,
Lucas. Hear him out.
Sherry's road rage is, you know, you're
Justified.
You're,
Not gonna get
you're a decent human being. You get in the car, you get mad. Matt is rage embodied, and sometimes he happens to be on the road.
That's facts. Straight facts.
So it's those things, Matt. You know, the other example I use is in a breakup. It's really hard to be loving. Or if you get passed over with a promotion, you know, those are the times that make love holy. If there is anything holy, it's love.
No, I do think, I mean, maybe a side, like, kind of angle to that also is just the bounce of the ball sometimes. Like, I mean, there sometimes, like, people go a different direction, not because they're even necessarily feeling entitled, but simply like their lives just had enough of these left turns, and they didn't have the right moments or catch the right moments, or didn't have, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I think about like a lot of the kids that I work with, like in some of the more poverty areas of schooling, some of the social work stuff that I've done, and I've definitely seen my wife do. Like, there are people who make the choice, who don't make those the right choices, who are pulled in certain directions, and they go ahead and go down that way. Or maybe, like, I think maybe one of you guys was saying, like, maybe they're a couple steps better, couple clicks forward instead of several clicks forward from what they came from.
Yeah.
And some of that is just like, it just the ball bounces weird, and some people are able to bounce out of it and some people aren't. And that doesn't belittle either the great amount of effort, like, for instance, you've had to expend to be able to pull yourself out of and be pulled out of, you know, what you came from. And it doesn't absolve anyone else of doing shitty things.
Yeah, I'm sorry that let me rephrase that. The entitlement was towards Trump.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
I have two brothers. We're all from different mothers. And my mother really wanted me in connection with my father. My younger brother, his mother completely cut him off from my father. And then my youngest brother, mother was FUBAR, dad was FUBAR, and he didn't have a chance. You know, so I can really see how the moms played into it and protected and tried to do the best they could, or didn't, and how it goes beyond that. I mean, when I reconnected with my youngest brother, he was like, oh my God, I got to find dad. I got to find dad. And after a couple conversations, he finally admitted it because he wanted to kill him. So it was one of those of, nope, stop looking now, oh, can't find him. We don't need this, perpetuating even more. But yeah, I mean, I look at my youngest brother as just having all the cards stacked against him.
Yeah.
Just all of them.
Yeah. Well, and that's also a call for compassion in a lot of situations, because you don't have any fucking idea what that person has done to even get to the point that they are. Like, I mean, I've worked with so many people who are they're just terrible people, like just all around terrible people. But I also know a little bit enough of their story that it's like, I mean, this whole community is kind of like that. I mean, there's just this perpetual cycle of abuse and of just anger and hate and division and racism and all that shit that just keeps getting perpetuated. And there's nothing to break that cycle.
I mean, and you throw in things like generational poverty, you throw in things like substance abuse,
education, all that
kind of, I mean, that poverty lowers your IQ, I mean, it's like substances can get passed down from generation to generation, aside from watching it be used and then using it yourself. I mean, all those kind of things. I mean, I work with a 6th grader at my school that is convinced he's just gonna end up in jail. So it's like, how do you begin to get a kid that's to be decent in school to other people if he just assumes that's where he's going to end up anyway? And it's, I mean, you watch it and sometimes you're just like, how do you convince someone that they don't have to do that? They don't have to do that.
Well, see, but that's the point of love, though, right? Is learning those stories instead of just dismissing them, saying, oh, they're an asshole. I don't know what happened to my dad. I don't know what made him go that far south. I don't know. I mean, this brother that I'm talking about that wanted to kill my father, he had to run at 7 years old because my dad was going to kill him and his mom. So it was those types of things that happened. And if without knowing those stories, we just go, oh, well, they're fucked up. So when love enters the picture, you go, why? Why did that person just cut me off? And you drive by them and because they're 97 years old and they can't see over the steering wheel. Those types of things happen.
Matt.
But if you start from a position of defense as opposed to knowledge or inquiry, then it's the difference from reaction and response.
Yeah. So the book has a lot of different chapters, and I'm going to kind of bounce around to different chapters and talk about different things. But I want to give people like a sampling of like some of the things you talk about. And I think one thing we've touched on already is the idea that God is too big for one religion. Could you talk about that for just a second?
Well, I use the analogy of shampoo or shoes. We have all of this diversity in our lives where we know what works best for us and what we are most comfortable with and what makes us better people or whatever. But when it comes to God, there is only one way. And there's literally not any one of anything in this universe. So it's not even logical. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever that there would only be one path or, one way to this higher source of love is the way that I look at it now. So, to say that I'm right and you're wrong has resulted in more deaths than natural disasters combined. And pointing out, like, I went into all of this thinking that Adam and Eve were the first inhabitants. I learned at 27 that they weren't, which was rocking me. It was like, how is this? Where did we even get this story? And it turns out because of their egos. We wanted to be the first ones on planet. Therefore, we were the right thing about God. And all of those things just pile on. They realizing that Adam and Eve weren't the first humans totally invalidates Judaism's claim to it. Seeing all of these things and getting to the source of all of them, the goddess was probably the biggest gift I got out of writing this book, was discovering her and realizing that she was around longer than even Jesus has been. But the patriarchy killed her off, took the mother figure out, made Eve the thing, all of those things that makes you go, I bought all this. I used all that. And this was used to justify this abuse. And this was used. So when you break it all down, if it doesn't result in love, then it's worthless to me. Yeah. It's just completely worthless.
Amen. So kind of going off of that, who is Jesus? Was he divine?
No. Should I elaborate?
No,
That's great.
That was the yes.
No,
no.
I have a section. So the book is broken up into 11 different sections. And within those sections are the answers to the questions that I had. One of them, obviously was Jesus divine. And the fact that he never said it, it wasn't stipulated for hundreds of years afterwards. It is contradictory to everything that he said and the way things go. He said that we are children of God, but Christians needed to delineate themselves away from Judaism. So they had to make him God in order to do so. There would not have been a division, just like with Judaism and Hinduism, there had to be some type of division there. So they started burying as opposed to cremating. They went down to one God as opposed to 330 million. Most of the doctrine is based on tribal rivalry and just being different so they could separate themselves.
And
Nice.
that continues to this day. It is dressed up in more modern clothing. I mean, it's the same.
But now it's just because of like what
Same
color
bullshit.
color the carpet's going to be, and like
Yeah.
why
Or
we
your
split now.
political
We don't
affiliation
split over.
or-
We don't split over doctrine anymore. We split over the color of the carpet.
Or are gay people?
Yeah. Yeah, that old chestnut.
Speaking of which, I assert that Jesus was probably gay.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
the chapter on is Jesus homosexual was
Spicy.
that was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it is spicy, right? But I mean, there is more documentation that asserts that he was gay than he was married. He would not have been a single man. That's just culturally inaccurate. There's just no way that he would have been taken seriously if he were single.
So are you inferring that he was in a bearded relationship or
A bearded relationship.
well,
Just a couple bears
Like
hanging
a
out.
marriage of
like
convenience.
a marriage of convenience, where he was married to a woman but was gay?
No, I don't think he was married to a woman. I think he was gay. I mean, there are several scriptures that are still within the Bible about him giving his beloved disciple to his mother, saying, "This is now your son." It's overlooked.
Like all the Jesus and John shippers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's overlooked, and I mean, I bring up the naked man running after him. It's there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get taught in church or in schools or stuff like that, but is actually in the Bible. Like David and Jonathan, that's coming out more. But
Yeah.
I went to a Christian school for 10 years. I was in a church for 27 years, and David and Jonathan, those types of things were overlooked, but they're still there.
What were they doing
I
in
love
that
her
cave?
more than the love of any woman, but it's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing to see.
So do you think that Jesus had a husband?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because you mentioned that he was married, but not to a
But-
woman.
So then,
Yeah.
with him being unmarried, being culturally unacceptable, Jesus being married to Amanda would I don't care, but like that would not have been
to
culturally.
be clear, no one here
acceptable.
cares.
Yeah, but that would not have been culturally acceptable to a first century Jew in ancient Palestine.
No, it would have. It would have totally. The stuff about homosexuality now is so different than the way that it's been. I mean, it is truly the last 200 years type thing. The Greeks, Romans, they all had, same-sex relationships. Pederasty, rape of a child was the issue, not homosexuality, not homosexual relationships. None of those things were an issue. It was very common back then, which is why we had the term eunuchs. So all of the hate towards the LGBTQ community is totally new.
Yeah. You have 4 chapters dedicated to God loving the gays. So
Yeah.
a whole section. So
Yeah.
um
And there are literally gay saints, which I point out and tell their stories. So, there are cathedrals that are built upon, in memory of these gay saints. So there's way too much proof to show that it was common back then. And everything he did for his beloved disciple of John would be viewed now as totally homosexual.
chapter
And
7.
that doesn't matter to me, by the way. I think
No,
he
no,
was a cool dude. I like some of the stuff that he says. I learned how to love through him. That's all he is to me now.
Yeah.
You know, he is someone that I can learn from, that I can love. But I think worship is pointless. You know, unless it makes you do better things for people, I just think it's worship means that a God is so egotistical that they need to be praised, and I don't want someone. I don't want to be associated with anyone like that.
What would you say that you are in terms of spiritually? I would assume you wouldn't.
I
say
don't
Christian,
know.
or would you say Christian?
No, I would not say Christian. I mean, that's like Nazi to me now. Yeah, no.
Things were not.
Yeah, I mean, truly, I have these wristbands. I say in the last section of the book that love is my religion, peace is my intention, and unity is my goal.
Hey, I've got one of
So,
those.
I mean, people who have read the book have said that the thing they like the best is that I'm not preaching any doctrine. I'm not telling anybody how to live or what to believe or anything like that. I'm just pointing out the bullshit and saying, learn from it and do with it what you will.
Yeah.
There is no believe this, believe that. Just love. It's simple but not easy.
I want to jump to Lucas's wandering around filling up people's glasses here.
He's the Kool-Aid, Lucas.
Can't see me. I might as well be good for something.
Yeah.
I can't offer my looks.
So in chapter
You're the only one
17,
that's got him here.
you talk about
at this
animals
table.
and do they have souls? Do all dogs go to heaven? I need to.
Yes.
You better fucking say yes.
Yes. If they don't, I don't want to go.
Exactly.
What's the hypothesis between not? I know we talked about me and puppies earlier, but what's the hypothesis here with dogs? Are animals having souls?
Well, I point out that they laugh, cry, love to be tickled, mourn, grieve, dream.
Same.
Protect each other. There are hierarchical standards within the groups of animals, and show that for the most part, they are better creatures than us. You know, an elephant will walk by a strange elephant and still mourn them for hours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we will step over and complain that they're in their way. They're in our way.
Mm-hmm.
Animals have more empathy. They have more concern. They obey rules more as opposed to trying to buck them all the time. And one of the, I had images in my head of everything when I was writing it. And, one of the real impetus of the animals chapter was sport hunting. To be able to go and just kill animals to feed your ego so you can feel better when these creatures are just trying to live their lives. And then say God let you do it. It's just gross.
Yeah. Where do we land? And I say we, I mean you. Where do you land on
The royal we.
on veganism, on eating animals? Where are we at with that?
So I say in the book
There's
that feedback again.
Oh, I don't know where that's.
Lucas,
It's not me.
It's not Lucas. He's just breathing. Close.
as I say, I am far too weak of a human being to be able to give up my love of meat. Literally everything that has breath kills something to eat. So when you have those types of things going on, I think it's more of an honor. I'm too weak to be vegan, or anything like that. I really am. I would like to. I think it's, but I think the whole thing is honor. Even when animals kill, there's a level of honor in when they do it. It's not only chimpanzees and one other ape species kill for sport. Animals don't do that. We do that. We murder and go all along. But beyond that, it's, for food, I am okay with that. A lot of people aren't, and I totally respect that. But I've also personally, because of this journey, cut way back on red meat. I've cut way back on different things. And I used to be the person that killed anything walking by me, spider, maybe not butterflies, but anything. And now I don't. So there's more respect. Yeah, there is more respect now for all life that I didn't have before.
Okay. Man, there's a lot of chapters I want to get to.
By the way, Broadleaf Books said the book was too broad.
Who?
Broadleaf Books.
Oh, I thought it was. Oh, okay. Wow.
It's called broadleaf, not narrow leaf. You get what you ask for.
Right?
Chapter 66. Drugs.
So close to chapter 69.
I got a note for 69
All right,
too.
good.
Nice. 66. Drugs, a gateway to God. Are drugs a gateway to God?
Fuck yeah,
They can be. They can be. I mean, they're also. What did you say?
He said,
I said, fuck yeah,
they
they are.
I mean, there is a lot of natural drugs out there that can enable a connection to a higher source. I specifically speak of ketamine, ayahuasca, and mushrooms. There is also drugs for escape, right? As crutches and those types of things. As a teenager, I dropped acid and I talked to God. I am thoroughly 100% convinced that I talked to God that night. The ayahuasca experience healed me in ways that therapy or anything else would never have done. So when they're used, I say when the sacred is used to reach God, that's when things are positive. Using them as an escape and to get over our trauma is obviously destructive. But in order for a higher communion to heal, especially, I am all for it. I think everyone on the planet over 18 should do ayahuasca.
I've never done that.
Did you have a question? Look like you were.
Do we have an ayahuasca?
I thought that was. Is that an invitation?
It's right
Yeah,
across
we
from the
have
Circle
ayahuasca.
K.
Hosting a ceremony.
Next to
I
discount
just- I mean,
tobacco.
we have, along with a few other animals, have evolved specifically to be able to, handle certain levels of drugs, and humans across the entire world throughout our history, even before modern humans came on the scene, were figuring out ways to use the natural world to kind of elevate our plane of thinking. And so that's, I mean, from fermenting fruit on the ground to various grasses and things like that, we've always been doing that. And so I think, and there's evidence for pretty much every major religion, including Christianity, especially in its earlier times. And I think you talk about that, about Soma in India, and in ayahuasca with some of the native religion, and a lot of these things. Like, we do that in order to get out of our heads. I mean, and that's that's essentially what we're doing in music too, which I think you also mentioned in there. But
yeah, I mean, there are songs out there that assert that Moses used ayahuasca when he saw the burning bush. That a lot of these things,
I do some weird shit. I know.
Medically, like a schizophrenic episode or drug induced, it would make those things even more prominent and live along in history because of those things. I mean, in reality, we only see burning bushes in hallucinations. Snakes don't talk. All of these things that we have attributed to reality fit more with hallucinations or schizophrenia.
It's comedian Pete Holmes says it's a cheat code.
Yeah.
It's a fucking cheat code. I mean,
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, it's your Contra up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Like, it's the unlimited lives cheat code. And without acid, we don't get Ram Dass. Like, we don't get all those years of him in this higher plane of consciousness spreading that love out to the world.
Or Jimi Hendrix. We don't get him either.
Fucking A, man. We don't get Woodstock. Like, we don't get Woodstock Hendrix.
We don't get Woodstock 99 if we don't have Woodstock.
Well,
So maybe
we went too far.
It's a mixed bag.
Not everything's positive.
Kevin has a great comment in there. He says if there is a connection to all nature in some way, then using natural plants to connect more deeply makes sense.
Absolutely.
So
That's absolutely correct.
I mean, did you guys ever see The Bear, the Disney movie, The Bear?
I've seen the show.
I've seen the show, The Bear.
No. You
Talking-
guys actually got me watching that show. But there's a movie back, I think, in '84 about a bear cub bear cub, it's a Disney movie, it gets separated from its mother and tries to make its way through the world and eats mushrooms and totally trips.
Awesome.
And it's a Disney movie from the 80s.
Mickey Mouse.
Dumbo.
Mickey Mouse.
Dumbo
yes,
with the
Dumbo.
pink elephants,
I'm
right?
watching
Yeah.
it every time I get it lit up.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But when there's so much trauma, if you're not doing it for a healing, then it could just exasperate things and make things worse and put you into a depth that you may not be able to escape from.
All right, chapter 69.
Yes.
Nice.
Nice.
It's in section X, the death section. Reincarnation is the chapter 69. But let's talk about what happens when we die, or what do you think happens when we die, or what do you wish happens when we die?
I really hope that when I get dead, I guess I hope that I get to heaven or wherever I go and I get a big book, and this book of life is nothing like the evangelicals told me about. The book of life is categories of animals and species and everything, and they're asking me what I want to do next.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that when I see my mom and I ask for my dog Bailey, she says that that was me. I hope that, that those types of things come on. Everything, without reincarnation, Jesus wasn't the Messiah. Without reincarnation, the whole Gospels are bullshit because he never returned. Without all of those things involved, things don't make sense. And I had a girlfriend of mine say to me, well, why are, if reincarnation exists, then, why are there more humans than there are animals now? And it finally came to me, it was like, because we keep killing all the animals. I'm going to be really mad if I get to the afterlife and I say, I want to be a beluga whale. And they say, sorry, humans made those extinct. It's back to those things of love and making things better. But I no longer stake my beliefs on anything.
Yeah.
I just don't. And I figure that if I am screwing up by trying to be loving, then let it be.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've touched on some of the more, I don't know, mystical ideas with like drugs and whatnot.
Animal souls.
And good times.
Bears getting the mushrooms.
You have a section, again, I'm jumping all around. I think this is section 9. Science versus God.
Yeah.
Where does science play into our spiritual connection?
I think that science and Christian beliefs are not mutually exclusive. I believe that they are just both trying to be right about different things. I say that science wants to know the how and religion wants to know the why. My science education was gross. It was I knew nothing. But in studying science and yet trying to find some truth in it all is how I came back to some type of God. And I always use quotation marks for God because it's everybody's individual beliefs. But based on facts, the facts of science that we know, there is no way that any God could be a being, whether that be a human being or whatever, because all matter disintegrates and dies. So if there is a God and it is supreme, then they would not break their own rules or have to overcome them. So I no longer believe in a God that is a being in any way, shape, or form. I believe that what we have been trying to define and to understand is actually the energy of love.
Yeah.
One of the main questions in my head when I started this is to get the answer of why babies die. Why is there childhood cancer? That is like the number one atheist question. And what I came to believe is that, we have demonized death. Everything dies. The loss is, overwhelming. But the pain of a childhood cancer is a lack of support per se. It is on us to be able to bring that love and support to the family so they can get through hard times. No one is going to come in and say, especially a God that has instructed everything to die, praying to this God to have someone live is really kind of crazy. You know, my ex-husband was like, God's going to save me from my cancer. And I'm like, no, God wants you to die. That's just the way everything's structured. So, you know, believing that sin causes death, or that death is bad in some ways, adds all this religious bullshit to it that doesn't need to be there. We just need to be there to support the people who are going through that pain.
Yeah. All right. You guys have any questions before we go into lightning round? Do you have time for lightning round?
I do, yeah. By the way, I'm very disappointed in you. Are you done with your questions?
No, I've got lightning round questions.
No, but I'm interested.
I've got
What-
one
what-
that I'm very
what did I
disappointed
fuck
that
up?
you
We've
didn't catch.
left most people disappointed, so
Yeah.
get in line.
There's a couple of Easter eggs. Is that what they call them? The Easter eggs in the book? And one of them is a chapter is titled For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
Right. That's a yes. No, fornication
I
under
thought
consent
for
of the
sure
king.
you were
I
going to
did
ask
see.
me about
Yes, I
that.
saw that one. The fornication under consent of the king.
Yeah, oh, that's what it is. Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't the Van Halen album.
No. Fornication
Is
under
it Van
consent of
Hagar?
the king. Yeah. The chapter all
Was it
about
Van
sex.
Halen? I'm sorry. I disappointed Lucas just now. I'll hug you later. I apologize.
There's still Van Halen.
I would say kind of my big overarching question is like the
Who
title
do you
of the,
think you are?
is the title of the book is We Have Ruined God. So my big question is, should we try to rehabilitate him or not? So like, is this book
That's a good question.
in some piece, is it an attempt to rehabilitate some aspect of God in order to be able to pursue that love, or is it just saying we've ruined God, peace? Like, and either way is fine. I'm just curious which direction you would tend to go.
That's a really good question.
Thanks, I wrote it.
I'm somewhat a writer too, you know.
No, I wrote ... Should we try to rehabilitate him? That's a very in-depth question.
Well, you know, someone on Twitter said he goes around trolling and saying narrator, and he said, narrator, let me redefine God for you. And that just cracked me up because that is not my intention in any way, shape, or form. If anything, my goal is kind of to completely destroy that version and those versions that are in there because they are so baseless, because it's caused so much pain. So I'm not trying to convince anything of anyone. I'm just saying, if you are looking for a God in some way, love is where you should look. I mean, my only prayers now are prayers of alignment. You know, it's I need to get into the flow. I need to make sure that I'm doing things right. You know, thy will be done is also translated across every culture and everything of, you know, let go, let God, you know, get into the flow of things. They're all saying the same thing. So it's love and let go. And it's not let go like the surrender that Christianity has. It's some fearful shit. It's let's do what we're supposed to be doing here. So it's a lot more freeing. But no, I mean, I would never start a church. I would never, you know, I think the only doctrine that we should have or beliefs that we should have should be in how to love. I mean, that should be the only reason for any type of establishments or churches or something to that effect, is to enact and show love. In fact, I'm going to digress a little bit, if I may. I needed to do a video for my book, and I couldn't find an open church. I couldn't, you know, we have 47,000 homeless people just in the LA County, and every single church's doors were closed. They had posters about radical charity and all of this stuff, but they're not doing anything to get out there and actually help the people in the community and do this. Me as an individual, I'm doing more than these mega churches are. And I think that's part of the problem. So unless we are teaching how to help people, how to handle things with, you know, if we're helping someone and it turns violent, how to handle those things, scrap it all. I don't have any need for it.
Some guys deserve to die. Most guys deserve to die, let's be honest.
Yeah.
All right. Lightning round. So a little backstory to the lightning round. Apparently, at some point, and since the last time we did a lightning round, I was under the influence and wrote a couple questions, added a couple questions.
Oh no.
So two specifically, and I wrote at the end of the question, I said, "Bah ha ha, you're welcome. Love, hi Michael."
just for the historical
So,
record.
so these are two questions. I'm not gonna genuinely ask the first one, but it is kind of funny. It's not funny, but you know.
Just do
all right.
it.
Who stole your wonder was the first one. You don't have to answer that. Read the book if you want to know.
Available at all your retail booksellers.
I guess it would be depend on what my wonder is.
Yeah. You don't have to answer that. It's fine. The next one is, I think, is much better.
We treat like Michael when he's really high because
Yeah.
this is what we get.
This is what I think. Okay, so which character from the Bible would you like to haunt you as a ghost?
Oh,
That's great.
Well, it can't be Jesus because he's not dead. He's alive.
right? Yeah,
Right,
he's not here, but he's not dead.
Yeah.
I would say the goddess Asherah. She's all throughout the Bible and being condemned and all of those things. And I mean, Lilith, I really like too, but she's more in the other texts, the Midrash and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I would say the goddess Asherah.
Okay. What is your beverage of choice?
When I drank alcohol, it was Captain Morgan,
What's it now?
Kool-Aid.
Just straight up
Nice.
Kool-Aid. You're just
I
a
love
Straight
Kool-Aid.
up
it.
Kool-Aid.
I
I
love
developed an allergy to alcohol, so
Oh,
I
that's-
just
Yeah.
it. That's fine.
yeah. I'm what
That's my
what
nightmare.
they refer to here as California sober.
Okay.
Yeah.
Drinking the Kool-Aid. All right.
I smoke weed and not drink. That's all that means.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's what I am. So what's the last album you listened to start to finish?
Ooh, actual album?
Actual album, not a playlist. Like these Gen Zers out here.
But not necessary.
I was
physical
just
music.
thinking of this today while I was getting ready because a song came on my iPod. I really think it was Tesla. I'm really
Whoa.
hating myself right
Jeez.
now. I really
Nice.
do. And
Wait,
it was
the
like 20
full
years
album?
ago. Yeah, it was like 20, 30 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not an album listener.
Are you a shuffle at all person?
Yeah, it's
Oh
all
my god,
shuffle
my
all the
wife
time.
is that, and I can't stand it.
it's all,
Oh my god, I don't want to go from Kendrick Lamar to Metallica. Like,
Okay.
I love that.
Hi,
I love
calm down over there. What is all right? What's your favorite TV show of all time? I'm gonna. ask
Ooh,
you-
of all time?
God, I hate
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Ted Lasso.
Okay, good. I was.
I
worried you
just
were gonna say
absolutely loved that show. That's the only thing that comes to mind right now.
Ted Lasso.
Nice. It's a good one.
that was a good one.
Do you have a favorite character from The Office?
Oh no,
Do you not like it?
I watched the American version a lot,
Yeah.
and I really liked them all, but I couldn't even tell you any names. I'm really bad at that.
What is your favorite Star Wars film?
The original.
Star Wars.
There you
Nice.
How do you like your coffee?
Cream and sugar.
Cream and sugar. Do you believe in the multiverse?
I think it's fascinating. I really do think it's fascinating, and it really ties into some type of reincarnation theories.
Mhm.
I wouldn't doubt it. Again, one of the biggest things about writing this book was getting really comfortable with my ignorance. No one can say to me, well, she's, playing holier than thou. I literally wrote a book about how stupid I was. And because I know that I'm not the only one that, believed these things. So I'm okay with being wrong about really anything, because then I learn more.
What goes on a hot dog?
Just ketchup, maybe cheese, but otherwise just ketchup.
You gonna be okay with
My
that?
heretic
There,
girl.
I put ketchup on mine too.
Okay.
I do
It's-
ketchup and mustard.
It's Brad that.
Brad.
That's why he's no longer.
That's
here.
why he's not on the podcast.
I mean,
I hate mustard. Yeah,
I'm not a ketchup guy, but I don't care.
What sound or noise do you love?
Is that a new one?
No.
heartbeats.
Heartbeats. Do you have a favorite comedian?
Oh, I have several. You really should have sent me these before.
I apologize.
speed round. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Very fun
again,
stuff.
I'm not thinking of any names, but yes, I mean, I love comedy. That's what I've been doing since I've been in LA, is going to comedy shows and stuff like that, because I
That's
just love to laugh.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. All right. I'm gonna do one more. Trying to think here. There's so many choices. I literally have like a list of like 40 questions. We won't make you do them all. I'm gonna ask, what is the best TV sitcom theme song?
Friends.
No,
Suck it, bitch.
Wrong.
Michael
All right.
specifically.
On that-
It is
on that-
absolutely one of the most memorable ones.
On that
for
note,
sure.
let's end this podcast.
You guys, thank you so much for taking over Fireside Creators. This has been a
Sorry,
blast.
we have decimated your audience, and
Yeah.
we apologize.
Nobody's coming back.
There's
We're
a
sorry.
couple fans. I mean, come on.
They're the real
They're
ones.
the real believers.
Yeah,
They
the
stuck
OGs.
through us to hang out
We
with
got
you.
Sanford
Oh,
and
fuck
Sons.
it. Sanford and Sons is a
So
fantastic
good.
theme song.
What you did to yourself. I want to say Full House would be top
Aw,
for me.
man.
For you, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What do you mean for you?
Because you
yours?
love Full House.
What's yours?
No, you love Full
What's
House.
yours?
I don't know off the top of my head.
It's
I really don't.
Fresh
Or
Prince.
Gilligan's Island. I'm going to totally date myself.
Ooh,
yeah.
Cheers
have
is
to
a
be
good
like-
one, Heidi.
Cheers.
Cheers is iconic.
Cheers is a pretty.
Cheers is good.
It doesn't have
Yeah.
any words to it. Parks and Rec. Like anytime I hear it, it just
Yeah.
means like, oh, happiness is coming.
It's
Yeah.
like a
just this great-
Pavlovian.
Yeah, it's like a dopamine surge.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, that was good. Ryan Elder wrote that song. Why do I know that? I
Why do you know that?
Man,
Yeah.
he also wrote some theme songs for a podcast I listen to. Okay, Sherry, where can people find more information about your book? Where can they find more information about you and follow you?
I have sherrypalace.com. It's just like Dallas, except with a P. SHERIPALLAS. And that's where you can find me. I am also doing a full book club for these types of things that have questions. I mean, a lot of the launch team said you cover so much, but you don't go into depth, and we want more depth. So I'm bringing experts and influencers on to go deeper into the book and see where things are going. So yeah, and there's also social media community there where you can talk with people who have read the book in a safe space. And I was supposed to be bringing this up, and I guess I didn't. But go to sherrypalace.com and go to book club, and you'll see all the stuff. There we go.
There we go. I got you.
Do you have a TikTok?
I do. Everything's under Reverend Sherry, REV Sherry Palace, or Sherry Palace PhD. But yeah, just Google search me, and everything comes up.
Sweet.
My TikTok is pretty plain, but it's there.
I was reading when I'd get to like the little short, like 2-3 page chapters. I was like, this could be a TikTok. She could really kill on TikTok. So
Yeah, it's on my to-do list.
having ideas, man.
TikToks are awesome.
Yeah, it's on my to-do list. That just hasn't gotten done yet.
Yeah.
And anybody who's a Fireside Creators fan, don't worry about following us. You don't want to follow
Yeah,
us.
you're
We're
fine.
trash.
We're not looking for an audience.
We're trash.
If you
No,
want to
follow
find,
them. They're great guys.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll have to do it again for the next book, or
Yeah.
just for shits and giggles.
No, why not?
I'm just recuperating from the launch party still. So I do have ideas about the next one, and the title should be Cancer Was the Easy Part, and talking about what it took for me to get this book out.
Damn.
Wow.
All right.
Nice.
But it's going to be a little while because I'm not writing anything for a little while.
No,
Yeah.
I'm sure not.
I need a nap.
Yeah.
Take a couple plays off.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Thanks so much for hijacking my show, guys. This was great.
Thank you so much for having
Thank
us.
you.
And Lucas, love you, guy.
He's here somewhere.
He's here. There he is.
Thanks so much. I'm going to go ahead and sign off.
All right.
Good?
I'm gonna let you do your thing.
Okay. Walk in love, everybody. Mwah.